Yeah, this is the area where authorities have kind of centered their strategy at this point. I want to show you behind me what we're all seeing. It is a row of police officers next to a tactical vehicle on one side. We're told that they were bussed in. We see a bus behind these police officers with riot shields, helmets, and batons. Many of them wearing knee pads. Blocking this portion of Burleigh across from Three Brothers Grocery and Tobacco. Now, activists and demonstrators, a small group of them, young men, have taken it upon themselves to heckle and yell at these police officers, further criticizing police officers' actions, leading to that shooting yesterday afternoon, which ultimately led to more demonstrations yesterday, including the burning of buildings. And leading into tonight, which started as a more peaceful protest. Here, let's swing around the camera now, and you can see even more of the equipment. And as we continue panning here, you can see on the opposite side of the street more activists. I know it's very dark here, but they're lit slightly by the squad car lights flashing red and blue. And then if we go over a little bit more, we've seen multiple counties with their tactical response units out. I'm not sure which counties these are. We have seen Waukesha and Milwaukee out during this time. We heard earlier from Police Chief Flynn that the city of Milwaukee's tactical response vehicle had been hit by multiple bullets yesterday evening. And now, as we're in the early hours of Monday, we have heard reports of shots, but none to these vehicles yet. We have also heard reports of injuries, but we don't have anything confirmed at this point. And let's just turn back around to these police officers. It's unclear what exactly they're staging for. We believe that many of the activists have actually broken up, and they aren't as organized as they were earlier in the morning. Earlier in the morning, there were kind of two groups. There were the group that was a part of the vigil for Slivell Smith, and then there was also another group of about equal, possibly a slightly smaller size, with faith leaders here in the community. And then those groups meshed and then moved forward, blocking a few streets, but nothing really dangerous until now, when things seem to have escalated here in the early Monday morning hours. So we're going to continue watching this situation, and we'll be staying out here as late as these police officers are. You can see it's very heated behind me. Maybe you can hear that. We apologize for any explicit language that's made it through in this broadcast. But for now, reporting live in Milwaukee, Jacob Kittilstad, CBS 58 News. Hear you. Excuse me, Eric. The situation out here is pretty tense at the moment. A lot of yelling coming from people just watching these police officers pretty much barricading this part of Burleigh. And as we're watching now, we're seeing a second row of police officers entering from behind. Let's get my photographer to zoom in and see if you can see back there. It's so dark, but you have the front row of police officers, each with their own set of riot shields, gear, zip tie handcuffs. And then in the back, you have even more police officers in darker gear, again, wearing similar types of tactical equipment. I'm not sure if they're preparing for some sort of swap out or if they're just here for reinforcements of some kind. But as I look down Burleigh, in fact, in both directions, to 43rd Street North all the way to 45th Street North, it's just Christmas lights of police lights on top of vehicles. This road is completely shut off at this point, but every so often we'll get a vehicle passing right through Burleigh, which is slightly surprising in a way. Let's do a little turn over toward the other side of the road. You can see some of these vehicles getting stopped in the middle, turning around. It's really confusing as we're looking around what's allowed. Now, you can see that SUV pull past these two large tactical response vehicles, sometimes known as Bearcats. They've been using a megaphone telling some drivers to turn back. Not everyone. I'm not sure exactly what the standards are at this point. It just seems like they're trying to hold some sort of order. You can see this car turning around right now. And some of these protesters that you can see on on the corners on either side, they've taken to crossing the street and raising their hands to show perhaps that they don't have a weapon, but making a big deal out of that as they're crossing to talk to other people who are still out here this late in the evening, demonstrating and pretty much just yelling at police officers about the the mistreatment that they feel as a race, African Americans. That's the main criticism that these demonstrators who are still out here are giving. And we're going to pan over to this group. You can see this young man yelling very loudly to one of his own friends, almost putting on a mock trial for the police officers as we're waiting for something. We're not unsure at this point. And basically, I feel pretty safe out here at this point. I know that in the past we've had crews who've run into issues. There are some people out here wearing scarves over their face, which is unsettling in a way because of our news crew that was out yesterday who was, attacked by a group of people dressed in that way. Try not to pass much judgment. Things are very under control here at the moment. Have not heard any shots fired at this point, and we're just planning to stay on scene as things develop. Again, it's kind of at a standstill at this time. Again, we have heard shots fired, just not within the last hour. And we're being told by other witnesses on the scene that there have been shots fired, but again, that's unconfirmed at this point. But for now, reporting live from Milwaukee, Jacob Kittilstad, CBS 58 News. Okay, just in the last minute or two, we heard about 5 or 6 shots about 2 or so blocks south of here. Police unmoving, these people who have been watching this situation, reacting to that noise. We don't know exactly what happened down here, but we did, in fact, hear 5 or 6 shots within the last 2 minutes. The reaction that I'm seeing is police officers standing firm and not very much reacting to the situation, whereas people who have been watching and criticizing the police officers, calling on police officers to move and go to the area where the violence had happened. That's what it appears to have happened. Yeah, the general vibe I'm getting from people around here is that people are very upset, not only with police, but also with the media. They're accusing me of lying. They're accusing police officers of murder in general. And that's just the general feeling right now. It's not very media-friendly out here, I'd say. Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, this is North 45th Street and Clark Street. What you're seeing in front of you is, of course, a car fire. It's easy to see that. The fire department is not yet on scene. Neighbors are telling us that police have told them that fire officials are at the scene of different fires at the city, but we haven't heard that yet. No confirmation. And actually, I'm going to ask my cameraman to swing around here as we watch this entourage of vehicles pull up. This is a fire administration vehicle passing by. Battalion chief, followed by a fire truck to address this car fire right behind us. I was speaking to, and the ladder truck, of course, following that. We've seen these trucks go all across the city, even earlier on medical calls. What we learned was happening there. We thought that before the 10 o'clock hour, these vehicles moving around was in response to potential fires being started, but we hadn't really heard any reports until now, seeing these flames only slightly reminiscent to yesterday evening when we saw those much larger fires compared to this. But this is what I'm hearing from neighbors as we watch these firefighters kind of approach the situation. The neighbors have said this car has been popping and causing some minor explosions, possibly tires popping about a half hour ago when this started. So What we're hearing is a young lady living just on the other side of the street was watching kind of everything develop from her porch, just keeping an eye on the situation as these demonstrations have been going on across the city, mostly calm at this point. And she says that she went inside of her home for about 30 minutes to deal with one of her younger relatives. And when she came back out, she saw this vehicle completely in flames, as you can see right there. She moved back to a distance, chatted with me, and told me this story. And she also said that a police officer told her that this investigation is continuing, and it's unclear if anything is inside of this vehicle at this point. That will be coming out further on in this investigation. And you can see the firefighters using that hose on that vehicle right now, that smoke billowing up as those flames tower out of the roof. It's unclear what kind of vehicle this is. Let's get a little bit better view if we can move up just a little bit more. You can see that firefighter just getting right up in there, spraying it right into the driver's side window. The people in this neighborhood say that they don't know who the vehicle belongs to, and it had only been parked here for about a day. That's what we know at this point. It looks like the flames are getting slightly smaller, really taking care of this pretty quickly here. And as we watch these police officers and firefighters finish their job out here, this is kind of away from the main areas of conflict that we've been seeing, where officers have lined up across the streets and people have kind of lined up to spectate those situations. This is just in a neighborhood, as I said, North 45th Street and Clark. And it seems like the only people who are standing out here are neighbors who just came out to watch the flames. And now another fire truck is backing into this situation. You can see these firefighters walking in with axes, and just another busy night for law enforcement and fire officials. Again, I've been speaking with, excuse me, sir. I've been watching these police officers and firefighters work throughout the day, chatting with them briefly, and some of them told me that they had been working since around 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon, when those first calls about that officer-involved shooting came through in the Sherman Park area. And they've basically been on since then, taking very short breaks, working, somewhere around 20 plus hours. And now paramedics have arrived to check out the scene just behind us. They're going to be walking up on the situation as soon as it's safe for them to approach. It looks like all the flames are out at this point, and this situation has made its way under control right now, Amanda and Eric. We are unsure at this point exactly what the connection is, if there is a connection to the larger demonstrations in this area. I can tell you that the mood in the area is much more calm, and I would say even one of a festival type of atmosphere when people are getting together, neighbors talking to one another, just watching the fire go up. So right now it's unclear if this is connected.